What if I told you that over 20 million metal fans have turned their backs on some of the genre's biggest names because of crime, hate, or pure chaos? From shocking violent crimes cases to band salutes caught on camera. Here are 20 most hated heavy metal stars. 1. Varg Vikernes, Burzum. He is not just disliked, he is feared. People don't just turn away from his music, they turn away from his name. He was the only person behind the black metal project Burzum, but it's not his music that made him famous. It was Blood and Fire. In 1993, he eliminated another musician named Oystein Euronymous Arseth. This wasn't a fight gone wrong. It was a brutal attack with a knife. The news spread fast, and the shock never faded. Varg stabbed him many times. It was cold. It was planned. And that was only the beginning. After the elimination, he set churches on fire. He burned down holy places in Norway. These weren't just buildings. They were part of history, part of people's lives. The fires lit up the sky and showed just how far he was willing to go. He didn't hide from it. He spoke proudly. Then came the words that pushed him even deeper into hate. Varg began speaking about white power. He said things about races that disgusted many people. His views were full of anger and pride in hurting others. People couldn't believe it. The metal world, already dark and loud, found itself shocked by one of its own. His music started to feel like a shadow of something more dangerous. Even fans who liked black metal before began stepping back. Many record stores stopped selling his music. Some musicians refused to play near anyone who still supported him. He became a stain on the scene. It wasn't just one act. It was a chain of hate, fire, death, and pride. Varg tried to make himself look like a thinker later. He made videos and blogs, but his words kept showing the same cold heart. He talked about old ways and hate wrapped in history. He smiled while saying things that hurt entire groups of people. Some still try to defend him. They say he was young. They say he changed, but most know better. The past still screams when his name comes up. 2. Tim Lambesis, As I Lay Dying. This guy had the look of a rock star and the sound of someone strong. His band, As I Lay Dying, sang loud songs with deep messages. Many fans thought he stood for faith and hope. The band even had a Christian image. But then the truth came out, and everything changed. In 2013, the news broke that Tim had tried to hire a man to eliminate his wife. It wasn't a rumor. It was real. He met someone he thought was a hitman and gave money to have his wife eliminated. That man was actually an undercover cop. Tim was arrested, and the world was stunned. He wasn't just charged, he was found guilty. He went to prison for 6 years, though he served only half. Still, the damage was done. People were shocked, confused, and angry. This wasn't someone who lost his temper. This was someone who planned a horrible crime. Fans who once wore his band shirts threw them away. His bandmates didn't know what to say. The metal world was left with a bad taste. Even worse, this wasn't just about one man's mistake. This was about trust. He broke it. He made people feel tricked. A man who sang about light was hiding darkness. He later tried to say sorry. He talked about substances and pain and how his life fell apart. But words weren't enough. Many people believed his apology was just another act. After prison, Tim tried to come back. He played shows again. He even brought the band back. Some fans returned. Others never would. They couldn't forget what he had done. For many, his face brings back thoughts of what could have happened. A woman could have died. A family could have been destroyed. 3. Phil Anselmo, Pantera, Down. When Phil Anselmo used to be one of the loudest and strongest voices in heavy metal. As the frontman of Pantera and Down, he helped shape the sound of metal in the 1990s and early 2000s. Fans cheered for his rough voice, wild shows, and strong attitude. But that fame slowly started to break apart. In 2016, during a tribute show for a late musician, Phil shocked everyone. He raised his arm in a Nazi salute and shouted, "White Power." The crowd froze. Cameras caught the moment. People were stunned, not just because of what he did, but because of how easily he did it. He later said it was a joke, blaming wine and tiredness. But the damage was already done. The video spread quickly, and people around the world saw it. Many were angry. Some said they had seen signs before. Phil had made strange or angry comments in the past, but fans had brushed them off. Now they were looking closer. More clips and old interviews showed him saying things that made people uncomfortable. Fans who once looked up to him now felt unsure. His words, once seen as strong, now seemed hurtful and careless. Concerts were canceled. Some bands refused to play with him. Others spoke out. A few still stood by him, saying he didn't mean it. But for many, it was too late. They couldn't forget what they saw. An apology came, but it didn't fix much. It felt forced, not real. He said he was sorry, but he also seemed annoyed at having to say it. That only made people more upset. Trust is hard to earn and easy to lose, and Phil had lost a lot of it. For someone who once had fans cheering his every word, now those words felt heavy and dangerous. Metal fans can forgive a lot: bad albums, strange shows, even fights. But hate speech? That hits a different note. 4. Fred Durst, Limp Bizkit. This guy needs no introduction because he became famous fast, but not everyone thought he deserved it. As the frontman of Limp Bizkit, he stood out with a red cap, loud voice, and a wild style. But behind the fame was a mountain of hate from fans, critics, and even other artists. Why? It wasn't just his music. It was how he acted. Fred seemed to care more about being cool than making great songs. Some people said he was all image, no real heart. Others said he made metal look silly. To many metal fans, Limp Bizkit was like fast food, loud, flashy, but not very filling. Fred didn't help things with his behavior. He was always in fights with other bands. He said rude things in interviews. He came off as proud, rude, and full of himself. At award shows, he acted like he owned the room. At concerts, he hyped up fans so much that things sometimes got out of control. At Woodstock '99, Limp Bizkit played while fires started and people got hurt. Fred told fans to go crazy instead of calming things down. That made a lot of people blame him for the chaos. People started asking, is he a real artist or just someone who loves trouble? Even other musicians didn't like him. Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails and Corey Taylor from Slipknot both spoke against him. Fred became the face of everything people hated about nu metal. To metal purists, he was a joke. Even when Limp Bizkit sold millions of records, it didn't earn them respect. People said their success came from being loud, not from being good. And Fred, instead of trying to win people over, seemed to enjoy being the bad guy. Years passed, but the hate never fully went away. Fred tried acting. He made a few movies, but even in Hollywood, people remembered his music and his attitude. Now, when people talk about hated metal stars, his name always comes up. He might still have fans, but even they know he has a long list of enemies. 5. Marilyn Manson. This massive artist built his name by being shocking. He painted his face, wore strange clothes, and sang about dark things. For years, fans thought he was just playing a part. They said his shows were just art, made to scare or excite people. But now, many are looking back and wondering, was it all fake, or was there something darker underneath? His music, once seen as bold, now sits under a shadow of serious claims. More than one person has said he hurt them, both in body and mind. These are not small claims. They say he tormented them, kept them trapped, and treated them like toys. When these stories came out, everything changed. Big companies stopped working with him. Shows were canceled. People who once praised him started to speak out against him. Some fans were heartbroken. They had looked up to him for years. Now they didn't know what to believe. Was the man they supported really a monster? It felt like a nightmare. Even old interviews and behind-the-scenes stories now seemed different. Things that once felt like jokes now felt like warnings. Manson stayed quiet at first. then said the claims were false, but the number of people speaking up grew. Some had proof. Some took him to court. His defense? He said it was just part of his style, that people misunderstood. But pain isn't art, and abuse is not performance. Fans stopped listening to his music. Stores pulled his albums. Friends in the industry cut ties. Argos Lent. Argos Lent is a name that causes anger just by being spoken. They didn't get hated because they were loud or strange. They got hated because of what they sang about. Their lyrics talk about slavery, war, and old history, but not in a way that teaches. Instead, their songs seem to praise things that most people see as evil. They write about the slave trade like it was something to be proud of. They talk about old empires as if they were heroes, even when those empires hurt people. This didn't go unnoticed. Fans and critics called them out. Many said their music wasn't just wrong, it was dangerous. At first, people thought maybe it was a bad joke. Maybe they were trying to shock people. But the band never really explained. They didn't apologize. They didn't say it was just art. They just kept going. That made things worse. Music stores dropped them. Online platforms removed their songs. Other bands refused to play with them. The message was clear. This kind of talk had no place in music. Some fans tried to defend them. They said Argos Lent was just being bold, that they were talking about history. But there's a difference between talking about history and praising the worst parts of it. When your songs seem to support racism and hate, people have every right to be angry. The band's silence spoke louder than any guitar riff. 7. Taek. This is a band that seems to think anger is just part of the act. But when you use hate symbols, people stop seeing it as art. In 2007, their lead singer shocked a German crowd by showing up on stage with a swastika on his chest. That one move brought concerts to a stop. Shows were canceled. Fans were shocked. The band tried to explain. They said it wasn't real support, just an image. But a swastika is never just a design. It means pain, hate, and death to millions. People weren't buying the excuse, and things didn't stop there. Taek also had lyrics that seemed to attack Islam. Lines in songs were seen as hateful, not thoughtful. More protests followed. More shows were canceled. They claimed it was freedom of speech. But when that speech causes fear and hurt, the cost is too high. Even fans of black metal, known for accepting dark and shocking themes, said Taaka had gone too far. The band didn't back down. They didn't try to listen or grow. They seemed proud of the anger they caused. But shocking people isn't the same as inspiring them. Hate doesn't make good art. It makes lasting harm. And Taaki, instead of changing, leaned in harder. They used the outrage as fuel. That choice turned many fans against them. 8. Grand Belial's Key. These guys are not just disliked, they are deeply hated by many people in the heavy metal world. This band from America took things to a dangerous place. Their songs do not just have dark or shocking words, they use words that directly attack Jewish people. Some of their song titles are also hateful. It's not about being edgy or just trying to shock. These messages carry real hate. At their concerts, they have shown flags that look almost like Nazi flags. These were changed only a little to avoid legal problems, but everyone knows what they really mean. Their shirts and posters are filled with hateful images too. This is not random. They know who they are trying to reach. They want fans who support extreme and dangerous ideas. They are also tied to a group of black metal bands that support National Socialist views. That means their music is not just dark, it spreads hate. It's not surprising that many music services removed their songs. Fans have started full boycotts. Even other metal bands have spoken out against them. People have asked again and again, how can they still perform? How do they still sell music? The answer lies in the fact that some fans support hate, but that doesn't mean the rest of the world should stay quiet. Their actions have hurt people and divided fans. Metal music has always been about being bold and different, but this is not bold, it's cruel. Using hate symbols and hateful words is not art. It's a clear choice to stand for something very wrong. The band has made no effort to change. They double down. They act like people are attacking them unfairly. But if you spread hate, you should expect people to respond. Music is powerful. It can bring people together, or it can tear people apart. Grand Belial's Key chose to tear people apart. That's why their name is on so many hate lists. 9. Stallgewitter. When you think of a band that brings up very hard questions, it's impossible not to think of them. They are not just disliked, they are feared and watched. This German group has made songs that clearly support ideas from Nazi Germany. Their lyrics do not hide behind clever words. They are direct and loud. They praise groups that have done real harm. They lift up the same values that caused one of the darkest times in world history. It's not about being different. It's about pushing hate into the world. Police have investigated them many times. Their words and their messages are seen as dangerous. Some people say they are just using free speech. But when free speech becomes hate speech, it turns into a weapon. Stallgewitter uses their music like a tool for spreading pain. Their songs are often played by hate groups. They become part of gatherings where people share extreme views. Their albums are passed around by people who want to bring back the past, not the good parts, the worst parts. Groups like the Anti-Defamation League have named them as part of extremist movements. Some fans say the band is misunderstood, but it is hard to misunderstand words that support hate. Their music is banned in many places. Some shops refuse to sell their records. Music platforms have removed their songs, but the band still has fans who share their work in secret. 10. Rammstein. Rammstein is one of the most famous metal bands in the world, but fame does not protect you from being criticized. They are known for their huge shows and shocking videos, but sometimes their shock turns into something worse. Many people have said that Rammstein crosses the line between art and hate. Their shows have included symbols and outfits that remind people of Nazi Germany. These are not small things. They are big, clear images that bring back painful memories for many. The band says it is just art. They claim they are not trying to make a political statement. But many fans and critics are not buying that. When your videos show marching soldiers, burning flags, or uniforms that look like those worn during World War II, people notice. These choices don't happen by accident. Someone designed them. Someone approved them. The band made the choice to use them. This has caused real anger. Some fans feel betrayed. Others say the band should know better. Rammstein has had many chances to change or explain, but instead, they often defend their choices or do even more of the same. That makes people wonder, do they care about how they make people feel? Or are they just chasing attention at any cost? Art can be bold. It can even make people uncomfortable, but it should not hurt. When a band starts to look more like they are enjoying the hate they stir up, people notice. Rammstein's denial of meaning behind their acts feels thin. Their fans deserve better. Their music might sound powerful, but their choices speak louder than their sound. 11. Lars Ulrich, Metallica. This one is a name every metal fan knows, but being famous doesn't mean being loved. Many people see him as one of the most disliked figures in heavy metal history. His fall from grace started in the early 2000s. That was when he led Metallica's charge against Napster, the music-sharing site. To fans, it felt like a rich rock star was angry about not getting richer. They remembered when Metallica was the band that fought against big corporations. Now Lars looked like he was siding with them. He said it was about protecting music, but fans thought he just wanted to stop people from getting songs for free. The move made him look greedy, not noble. Since then, the hate has only grown. His drumming has also been questioned. Some say he never got better. Others say he got worse. Online, he is often mocked for missing beats or sounding sloppy. Videos showing his mistakes have gone viral. It's not just about Napster anymore. It's about respect. People want skill and humility from their idols. Lars comes across as loud and proud. He talks big. He rarely admits fault. For some, that attitude is too much to handle. 12. David Draiman, Disturbed. This guy once had the metal world in the palm of his hand, but now his name stirs up more arguments than applause. The lead singer of Disturbed built his image around being bold and brave. But many fans think he's gone too far. He doesn't just make music. He fights back at everyone who disagrees with him. He often lashes out at critics and fans online. Instead of taking feedback, he attacks it. Draiman calls himself honest. Others call him rude and hard to like. When someone always thinks they're right, it becomes tiring to listen. That's how many people feel about him now. His interviews are full of strong words. But strong words are not always smart ones. Fans also say Disturbed's music hasn't changed. Album after album sounds the same. They blame Draiman for keeping the band stuck. He has a tight grip on how the band sounds. That grip might be choking out anything new or exciting. Some fans have left, others stay, but they are tired. Tired of hearing the same songs. Tired of the same loud voice saying the same bold things. 13. Satanic Warmaster, Werewolf. The one-man project of a Finnish musician known only as Werewolf. At first, it may seem like just another black metal act, but as people looked closer, things got darker. Werewolf has always said his music is about evil, darkness, and satanic ideas. But many people believe there's something much worse hiding behind those words. He has been tied to something called National Socialist Black Metal, a part of the music world that is filled with hateful, racist beliefs. Even though he keeps saying he is not part of that, he keeps showing up at the same events and working with bands that clearly are. It's not just the music. The posters, album covers, and symbols he uses are full of things that look a lot like hate signs. He might say they are just part of the style, but they don't look innocent. People see this and wonder, why keep using those images if you don't want to be linked to hate? His fans defend him, saying it's just art, but many others, including people inside the metal world, are calling him out. They're asking hard questions, and they're not getting clear answers. That's what makes it worse. Even his concerts aren't safe from this talk. Some places have canceled his shows after seeing who else he works with. Others have banned him completely. He has become a warning sign. Some think he's dragging black metal into a place it shouldn't go. He says it's about freedom and not being afraid. But is it really freedom when it hurts others? When the same images that were used to cause pain in the past are shown again, people don't just forget. They speak up, and they have a reason to. 14. Avenged Sevenfold. This band didn't always make people angry. In the beginning, they had fast guitars, strong vocals, and heavy metalcore roots. Their early songs were wild, angry, and full of fire. Many metal fans loved them for it. But over time, something changed. The fire got softer. The sound became more smooth, more like rock you'd hear on the radio. And a lot of fans didn't like that change. They felt like the band turned their back on what made them special. People didn't just stop liking the music, they started feeling tricked. The band seemed more focused on making money and getting famous than making powerful songs. They added more slow parts, catchy hooks, and polished sounds. Some of the things that made them feel real, raw, and different just disappeared. Many fans asked, why change? Why leave behind the sound that gave them their big start? It wasn't just growth. It felt like they were running away from who they were. That left a bitter taste in people's mouths. And then there's the look. Avenged Sevenfold puts on big, flashy shows. They wear stylish outfits, act dramatic on stage, and use bright lights and flames. Some people love that kind of thing, but others feel it's all fake. They say the band now cares more about how they look than how they sound. In a genre where honesty and emotion matter more than costumes, that doesn't sit well. Metal is supposed to be rough, real, and true. But when it looks more like a fashion show, Fans feel left behind. 15. Cannibal Corpse. This is simply one of the most shocking bands in metal. Their music is fast, loud, and brutal, but what really sets them apart is the way they talk about death, pain, and violence. Their album covers are full of bloody pictures. Their lyrics describe terrible things in great detail. They say it's just fiction, like horror movies. But a lot of people think it's gone too far. When every song is about crimes or suffering, it stops feeling like a story and starts feeling like something darker. Critics say the band shows too much violence, especially against women. Some think their music is not just scary, but also hateful. This has led to bans in many countries. Some stores refuse to sell their albums. Some places won't let them perform. Even in countries where free speech is protected, people are speaking out. They're saying this isn't art, it's just gross. And no matter how many fans defend them, that voice of concern keeps growing louder. Cannibal Corpse keeps pushing the same ideas. They don't change, they don't apologize, they double down. That makes some people think they're proud of making others uncomfortable. They've built their whole image around being offensive. But where is the line? When does art stop being art and start being something dangerous? It's a question people ask every time a new album drops. And the answers are never easy. 16. Confess, Iranian metal band. If you're looking for your typical metal band, look somewhere else. They come from Iran, a place where heavy music is not just frowned upon, it can get you arrested. The band's songs are loud, angry, and full of strong words about faith and power. That alone would cause trouble. But Confess didn't hold back. They released music with titles like I'm Your God Now, and their lyrics directly attacked religion and government. That made the authorities furious. In 2015, the two main members were taken away by the police. They were locked up, held in small cells, and left alone for weeks. Later, they were sentenced to over 14 years in prison and even physical lashes. Their crime? Making music, speaking their truth, challenging the rules. It was more than punishment. It was meant to scare others into silence. But Confess didn't stay silent. Even after all they went through, they kept fighting, they kept writing, and their story spread around the world. To many people, Confess became heroes, not just for their music, but for their bravery. They risked everything for their songs. Most musicians worry about reviews or ticket sales. Confess had to worry about jail, beatings, and even worse, their pain became part of their music. And fans felt that. They didn't just listen, they stood with them. 17. Slipknot. These guys always wanted to look different. They wore scary masks, matching jumpsuits, and screamed loud songs while throwing things on stage. People noticed them fast, but not always in a good way. Many fans of real heavy metal said Slipknot cared more about how they looked than how they sounded. Their songs often sounded the same. It felt like they were doing everything just to shock people, not to make good music. Fans began asking if the band even had something real to say. Their look was wild, but their songs didn't grow much. Over time, more people saw their tricks as boring. Some fans say they were the reason metal got weaker. Slipknot was part of the nu metal wave, a kind of metal that mixed rap and easy beats. Metal fans who liked fast guitars and deep lyrics saw nu metal as fake and soft. Slipknot fell into that box. Their wild shows, full of shouting and jumping, didn't help change minds. It made them look like they were trying to cover up weak songs with noise and fire. 18. Glenn Benton, Deicide. This band didn't just make people mad, he shocked them. He burned a cross upside down into his forehead. He said he followed Satan. He said he eliminated small animals for fun. Then he said he would die at age 33 to be the opposite of Jesus. That didn't happen. He called those words dumb later, but by then, people were already upset. These weren't little jokes. Fans felt he crossed the line over and over. Even his band, Deicide, got in trouble. Their posters showed violent images like Jesus with a bullet in his head. That got them banned in some places, like in Chile. They made a music video called Homage for Satan that was banned from TV in the UK. When Glenn threw rotting meat into the crowd at concerts, people got sick. Some fans left. It didn't feel like music anymore. It felt like something worse. 19. Slayer. Slayer always pushed limits. But after a while, those limits started to look like lines they shouldn't have crossed. Their songs were loud, fast, and full of dark images. That alone wasn't the problem. It was the things behind the songs that made people upset. In the 1990s, parents of an eliminated girl blamed Slayer. They said the ones who did it were inspired by their music. The court didn't agree, but people started asking questions. Then came even more trouble. Slayer had a logo that looked a lot like a Nazi symbol. They said it wasn't on purpose, but fans were unsure. One of their most known songs, Angel of Death, talked about a Nazi doctor who did horrible things. Some people said it was history. Others said it sounded like they were praising evil. Slayer also changed the words of a song called Guilty of Being White. They ended it with Guilty of Being Right. That made things worse. Was it a joke? Or were they trying to say something ugly? In 2006, they released a song called Jihad, which told the story of 9/11 from the view of a terrorist. Fans were shocked. Some said it went too far. Others asked if they were just trying to cause pain for attention. Slayer seemed to enjoy being the band everyone argued about. 20. Jeff Whitehead, Leviathan. Rest made music alone under the name Leviathan, but what he did in real life shook fans more than any song ever could. In 2011, police arrested him for attacking his girlfriend. The charges were serious. They included assault. Though he was found not guilty of the worst ones, he was still convicted of hurting her. He got probation, but the damage to his name was already done. People in the metal world were shocked and angry. His case brought up big questions. Can you still listen to someone who does something like that? Should you give your time and money to someone who hurt others? Many fans said no. Some stopped playing his music. Others erased him from playlists. His songs, once seen as raw and real, started to feel dark in the wrong way.